Hey Divi Nation, welcome to a brand new Divi use case live stream where each week we show you how to add new design and functionality to your Divi websites. And today I'm going to be showing you how you can add simple Stripe payment buttons to your Divi website using the the Stripe Payments for WordPress plugin. And I'll even show you how you can style those Stripe buttons to match your Divi layouts. For more information, check the video description for a link to the blog post that goes along with this tutorial. And without wasting any time, let's go ahead and jump in and get started. All right, so just to make sure I'm coming in loud and clear, welcome everyone. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. And the stream seems to be flowing nice and smoothly. Excited to jump in and get started here. Please don't hesitate to ask questions. Let us know where you're from. And hopefully, thank you, Monique, loud and clear. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started. The preview that you're seeing on this screen, this is where we're kind of a glimpse as to what we're going to be building today. As I mentioned earlier, these are simple Stripe payment buttons, and using the Stripe, let me just show you the plugin we're using. Here it is, the Stripe Payments for WordPress plugin by WP Simple Pay. This is a free light version of the plugin available on WordPress.org and in the back end of your WordPress dashboard as well. So easy access to this plugin. It just makes things a lot easier. And it does come with a few convenient options like the ability to, deploy a payment confirmation page or a payment failure page, just to kind of smooth out the checkout process, which I thought was convenient. This, of course, can be done manually if you follow along with the Stripe documentation, pretty easily. But again, I thought this plugin was pretty lightweight and had some convenient features, so I decided to use this plugin for our use case tutorial today. And this is kind of where we're going. This is the digital products layout pack, and this is actually the pricing page here. And this is actually a example pricing table that includes memberships. This is just mock content. I don't want to confuse you. These Stripe buttons that we're going to be building today won't be subscription forms, so might be a little bit misleading. I'm just going to show you a simple way to provide one-time payment checkout buttons here. And so for this example, this is a custom Stripe button. You can ignore the test mode yellow highlighted text there. That's just the plugin's way of letting you know that you're in test mode and we're not actually buying actual products or spending real money. So that's convenient. If you've ever used Stripe before, you're familiar with their test mode and live mode features. But if I click on a button here in my pricing table, you'll see the Stripe payment or the checkout form pops up in the overlay, which is customary in Stripe by default, and allowing the user to, without even leaving the page, to go ahead and check out and pay for this product. And then, of course, it works with all three, and each of these buttons is a unique form. And so it will have a unique image URL at the top here. This could be the image for your product or whatever. And then the company name, which is, I just put Elegant Themes there. And then there's a description underneath the name, which could be a description of the product or service you're selling. And of course, all the fields needed to enter your payment information. And it even has a little remember me button here that would allow you to, use Stripe securely, come back, it'll remember your account, and you can just make the checkout process a little bit more smoothly for your visitors. So that's just kind of the real simple. I'm going to show you how to style these buttons. As you can see, this is the button that came with the layout, an example. I'm going to show you how to match that using some little custom CSS there to target these stripe buttons. And I'll show you how to do that. It's pretty easy. All right, so that's where we're going. And let me just jump over to the comments here. Everybody can hear me. That's good. Welcome, Judy from Vancouver, and Monique, hi again, from Maryland. And looks like we have Carrie, I believe, from Wesley Chapel, Florida. Welcome. And Bunama, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but hi from Algeria. Great to know that you love the Divi theme. We love it over here as well. Let's go ahead and jump in and continue our use case. And actually, if you're just joining us, I do want to welcome you. This is our weekly Divi use case live stream. And today I'm just going to be showing you how to add some simple Stripe payment buttons to your Divi layouts and even style those buttons to match your Divi layouts as well. If you need more information, don't forget to check the video description for a link to the blog post that goes along with this tutorial. And that blog post looks something like that, which went out earlier today. And it has some helpful details and some code snippets that you'll want to go ahead and get whenever you're actually building out this design. All right, so to get started, all you really need is the Divi. Well, you'll need a couple of things. You'll need the Divi theme installed and active. You'll need this Stripe Payments for WordPress plugin installed and active on your site. And again, it's available in your WordPress dashboard. And you will, of course, need a Stripe account. And if you're just wanting to test it out, I guess you don't really have to have your account actually active. If you just want to use some test APIs or API keys to integrate the the plugin with to test it out. But you definitely will need a Skype account. Real easy to sign up for that. And we'll be using the Digital Products Layout Pack, which is available for free within the Divi Builder as well. So those 4 things should get you where you need to go. And they're all free. There is a paid form version of this plugin, which allows you to do things like add subscriptions, payment forms, things like that, or add. You can actually embed some forms, Stripe forms, on your website as well. So you can check out their website for more information on their pro version. Of course, we're just using the light version to do some one-time payments. All right, let's go back and get started here. First thing you'll want to do is go to your WordPress dashboard. And if you go, once you have the plugin installed, I'm just gonna show you how to set up the settings here for this these PayPal payment buttons. Sorry, tongue twister there. And we're gonna go to Simple Pay Lite, which is the plugin there, and then we're gonna go to Settings. And there you'll see some tabs up here that walk you through some general settings. It's not overwhelming, the amount of options here, but they are helpful. This first tab here, the Stripe keys, this is just where you'll enter your test and, your publishable and secret keys to integrate Stripe with these forms that you're going to be making. I've enabled test mode here just because we're going to be testing it, and I've added some, test API keys. Which can be found from your Stripe account, and under your developer section there under API keys, you can find those test keys or actual live keys. If you've ever used Stripe before, you can toggle this viewing test data and live data. So it's very good to, toggle the test data, get those test publishable keys and secret keys to use for your testing purposes. And so there's my test keys. They've been installed. Once that's done, I definitely want to save my changes. Let's go over to the General tab. The General tab actually has a few more options available. And what's unique to this plugin and is very convenient is these payment success page and payment failure pages here. And this is, of course, for checkout purposes. Once the user completes a payment form purchase, then they will be redirected to whatever page you have selected here. By default, the plugin will, if I go to my pages here, the plugin will create these pages for you by default, so you can go in and I'm just going to go in and edit one of these just to show you the payment confirmation page. And let's use existing content, and I'm going to return to the standard editor because I deployed Divi on this one. I'm going to show you what it looks like by default. There it is. And so the only thing in here is an actual shortcode, which is good news for Divi users because you can actually use that shortcode anywhere you want in Divi, in any module, things like that, in any layout to customize the look of this confirmation page. So that's a cool setting or option under General. And so these will need to be selected. Once you got your payment success page and payment failure page selected, you can, of course, choose your Stripe language. And then your currencies, I'm just going to leave the defaults, US dollar, and the currency position. So you can change a few things, the style of how you want these texts, or excuse me, these amounts to be displayed, which is nice. And then the styles of the payment button itself. By default, it will look like it does with the Stripe, that blue button, the classic Stripe blue button by default. But if you select to this option none here under the payment style, this is where I am right here, the payment button style, if you select none, this will inherit the button style from your actual theme, which this is essentially a button tag, so it's not going to be styled, which is just a convenient way to strip out all of that default custom CSS. So when we go ahead and add our own, we don't have to deal with conflicting code there. So I'm going to select that to none. And then for the default plugin styles, I'm just going to keep it enabled and, of course, save my settings. Once done, I'm going to go over to my payment confirmation. Just real quickly, I just wanted to show you how you can customize the actual content that shortcode I showed you earlier here in the payment confirmation page, this shortcode. You can customize what gets deployed using some of these available template tags, which is nice. And so you can customize that content and then it will get deployed wherever you put that shortcode. All right. Once you got your settings all taken care of, the next step is to go ahead and add some new payment forms. And these payment forms are essentially your buttons. If I go to my payment forms link in my WordPress dashboard under Simple Pay Lite there, you can see that I have 3 forms already created, and with my little shortcodes here. And these shortcodes are what I'll be using to embed those Stripe payment forms or buttons on our Divi layout. So we're going to get to that point. But first, to create a new one, you will want to go to Add New. And they have some helpful tabs here that walk you through the process of adding a new payment form. I'm just going to create one, just call it Form 4. Give it a title there. And you can see over here on the right, it's just like a custom post type. I can, save it or click Create to publish it. Under Payment Options, you have the option of setting what your one-time amount would be. Let's say it's $100. Put that in there. I'm going to leave my global settings, and that is basically what you want that payment confirmation page to be for this specific product. You can override the default if you want. We don't need to do that, so I'm just going to keep it as a global setting. Once the payment amount is in place, I'm going to go down to this tab here, the on-page form display. This is neat. You just get to change what that button says. Maybe you want to change it to buy now. And then once you actually click the button, while it's loading the overlay with the form and everything, it will display some processing text. Basically says, please wait, because stuff's happening and we're about to load your form. You can actually change that to whatever you want. So I'm going to leave it as please wait. Let's go over to our next one here, which is our checkout overlay display. Now that is this. When it says overlay display, it's talking about this with the dark overlay background there and your form front and center. You can change the way those items look for this specific form. Let me just go ahead and grab it and shrink it up, and so we can see both at the same time. That works. So this first option here is company name. That corresponds, of course, to Elegant Themes in this example. The item description would correspond to the text directly underneath your company name there on the form. Your logo image URL will correspond to this circle image at the top of your form up there. And then the enable remember me option here would show this little checkbox here with remember me. And of course, you can choose to verify a zip or postal code or enable billing address options as well, which essentially make the form longer and more information, which is a nice option. I'm just going to keep those by default for now. So you would add a company name, Elegant Themes. This is a description. And then your logo, you can just grab it from your WordPress media library there, whatever it is you need. Of course, it can be a product or a service image or your company logo. I'm going to enable this. The checkout button text, as you can see, has this little pay with the, I don't know, a tag here called amount. And this is basically a smart way of adding your price of your product there in the button itself. So I'm just going to leave that alone, but I could change the way that looks, or I could change that text to whatever I want. All right. There is no subscription options with the free version, so I'm going to skip that one. And I'm going to click create. And once it's created, I'm going to go over to my payment forms, and I can see that it's been added here, and I can have access to my shortcode very conveniently. And I want to continue the process to create a new payment form for each one of my products, and then once you're done, you're ready to add those to your Divi layout. So let's see if we have any questions here. Pretty straightforward stuff so far, but if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Hello, everyone who is just joining us. Uncle Social, I don't think you're absent. Sorry. You are here. You are present, my friend. All right. Welcome. All right. Let's continue on. The next step is, of course, to add it to a Divi layout. And to do that, you're going to need to create a new page. So let's go ahead and open and create a new page here. I'm just going to call it payment. Then I'm going to click to use the Divi Builder. And I'm going to grab I'm going to click choose a pre-made layout. And I'm going to go grab the digital products layout pack. And there it is. And then I'm going to use the pricing page, which makes sense. And I'm going to click use this layout. There are many different pricing page layouts out there for free in our pre-made layout section. So feel free to test out other designs when you're building out your own. Once it's loaded to the page, I'm going to publish it. And then I'm going to click to build it on the front end so we can see it visually nice and clearly. All right, so there's my layout. I'm just going to scroll down and find my pricing tables here. And just a reminder, these buttons can add, or payment forms can be added to any place, anywhere on your Divi website, any module, things like that, because it is using a shortcode. So I'm going to add it to this first payment, pricing table here. So I'm going to open my pricing table settings. I see I have one table already there. I'm going to click to open those settings. Make sure you can see it. And I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to take out the button text because we don't need a button. We're going to replace it with our own PayPal button. Excuse me, not PayPal, sorry, Stripe button. And then I'm going to go grab my shortcode. So I'm going to put my shortcode there, but first I'm going to go back to my payment forms. So I go Simple Pay Like, go to payment forms, and then grab my shortcode. And this, of course, would need to have the amount that corresponds to whatever product you're about to sell here. Once I have my shortcode copied to my clipboard, let's go back and paste it in here. And I just realized that it's already going to style it. So I'm going to, oh, no, there it's not. Okay, good. So as you can see, it's real basic, raw button styling there. And that little test mode highlighted text underneath, which is what I want, because we're going to be adding the styling a little bit later. Once I have my button in place, I'll go grab my code from my other button that I've created, or payment form, I should say. Let's do the same thing for this one. Take out my button text, and then paste in my shortcode underneath my content in the pricing table. And I'm going to click Save Changes. Go back, grab my other last one here. And let's paste it in. All right. Easy stuff. So now that all three of my buttons have been added using the shortcode, I need to add some styling. Again, these buttons aren't styled because I opted to choose no default styling for these buttons. And that'll make it easier for me to use my own custom CSS. So I'm going to go get my CSS here, and the CSS needed for this button style. Actually, I'm going to show you a trick to, if you're not familiar with CSS or how to create it from scratch or anything like that, you can actually just copy the CSS that is already being used by a button in your Divi layout. And here's how you do that. I'm going to save my page here. And I'll walk you through this actually in the blog post as well, so feel free to check that out later. But I'm going to view it on my live site here, or a live version. And you can see there my buttons, which aren't styled, but I'm going to use my browser developer tools here. Most browsers have this similar inspect tool here. And I'm using Chrome, but this would work also for like Firefox, things like that. And then I'm going to click Inspect. And this will bring up a our developer tools window, which will highlight the element in HTML and show you the associated CSS that goes along with it. Make sure you can see it. So if I hover over the HTML, you can see it being highlighted in blue. That's, or actually, yes, right here, that's my button. And you see it's been given an ID called SimPay Payment Button. And so I'm going to need to know that, because that's basically what I'm going to use to target that button styling in my own custom CSS. All right, so this is actually a class that's added to the button by this specific plugin. But if you were going to be building this or designing the Stripe button from scratch, or by entering your Stripe buttons manually, you will probably have I know you'll have a different class that you'll need to target. But for this example, for this plugin, I want to target this class here. And this, once I know that, I'm basically just need to copy that to my clipboard and save it for later. And then I'm going to go down here to let's go ahead and exit out. And I'm going to scroll down to this button, which is a button that has already been designed, using the Divi builder. And this is already pre-made in this pre-made layout. So I'm going to inspect this button to grab the CSS styling that is used for this specific button. Now, make sure you can see it. Maybe I'm going to stack them on top of each other for now. All right, so the same thing, I just click inspect, right click on the button, click inspect, and let me make sure we can see our elements here. All right, so if I hover over this link here in Divi, you can see that this is where my button gets styled. You can see here is my CSS that goes along with this specific button. You know it because it's actually Divi numbers the buttons as you create them, on your page. So this is the first button, it has button 1 here. And you can, I believe that's how it works anyway. But this is your CSS. All you will need to do is copy it. So you just highlight all that text, copy it, and we're going to be pasting it in there. But you'll need to copy this one, and also the padding of the button as well. So there's 2 places where the CSS is applied to this button. So make sure you grab both of those. And then once you do, you'll go back to your page with the Divi builder deployed, and you're going to go you can add this button to your child theme style CSS, or you can add it to theme customizer, custom CSS. I'm going to be adding it to the page settings custom CSS because for this example, I really only want it to be applied to this certain page. So this CSS, for example, won't be applied across the whole website. So I'll go to advanced under my page settings. Of course, it's this gear icon down here, and then click custom CSS. And then I'm going to paste in my code. And there you go. So I have my SimPay payment button class, which targets my button. And then I have my 2 kind of groups of CSS that was styling my Divi button there. And I've just wrapped it in those brackets, and that's basically all it takes. So if you're not familiar with CSS and want to match the design of the buttons on your page already, you can use the inspect developer tool or option and figure out that code on your own. All right. Thought it might be helpful to share that with some of you who aren't used to doing that. It's actually pretty cool. You can actually see all of that code that's being used to build any website, and it's a great way to learn CSS as well. All right, so Let's jump in and answer any questions we have. As you can see, the buttons have been styled. Let's go ahead and save it. And let's check out the final result here. So if I click on my button, you can see my form works. Excuse me. My form works with my image, my title, my description, and all of the overlay form input fields I've decided to use. And of course, we're in test mode, but these little test mode highlight text sections will disappear once you're out of test mode. Here's my other product there. And I'm not going to take the time to go through the process of purchasing something, but once you do, you will be redirected to this page, which would have your payment confirmation information as well. And of course, it says an error occurred because there is no information to be displayed because we didn't actually perform a test payment. Actually, let me just see if I can do one really quickly so you can see it. I think this was my example here. All right, so Judy's got a question. Thanks for the CSS tip, but can't you use the Divi's new copy format from one button module to the other? Unfortunately, I mean, yes, you can if it was another, regular button module or something like that. You can carry over the styles by copying and pasting those styles, but because this is a actual short code, a custom stripe button, this is kind of a code that doesn't really match up with a standard Divi button. So you're going to need to style it using some custom CSS. Good question, though. All right, so I'm going to try and buy something really quickly here. Let's just all right, let's go ahead and put in an email, and I think this mock number here, it has Stripe has some some test numbers you can use to make payments. So there you go. I made my payment and then it redirected me to my payment confirmation page with the information that or about my purchase. Information on the item, the company it was purchased from, the payment date. So really simple, really convenient way to start collecting online payments using Stripe. Also, if you wanted to, you could go in and style that page using the Divi Builder. So I'm going to actually target, as you can see, it's now that I've deployed the Divi Builder, that shortcode, this shortcode here, that's deploying my payment information. You can actually target or actually use the text module settings to style that text, however you want as well. So if I wanted to go in here, change my, my font to something else, my font weight, change my text size, line height, all that stuff, will be able to style that shortcode content, which is very convenient. All right. That about does it. I'm just going to come in and see if I have any last minute questions here. All right, yes, let's look at the question from Miles Lacey. Can you add order notes? Good question. Um, I I'm not sure actually. Let me real quick. Let's look into that. I think just double check the settings. I don't believe the settings allow that on the, at least on the light version of the plugin. Um, I mean, the closest thing I guess using these settings would be your item description, but that is being shown by the or being seen by the actual user, so that really doesn't count as order notes. But um, I, yeah, I don't think so. Not with this light version. Good question. You can explore the pro version if you want, see if you can. Um, but sorry, I couldn't be more helpful. Maybe someone else can chime in. All right. Yes, thanks again, Uncle Social, for bringing that to my attention. All right. Yes, Stripe. Man, I'm calling it everything. Stripe is a pretty amazingly flexible payment gateway or payment processor, but and for that reason, it can be a little bit overwhelming for a lot of people to get a custom setup for their own website unless you know code. It's really built for developers, and so that's a plus. But a lot of times it's not as easy to use for more customized versions or forms, and making sure that your server side is communicating correctly with your form and stuff like that. And I don't really understand it all, but I think this solution for one-time payments, and even for the pro version of this plugin, you can probably get, you know, something up and running, a functional payment processor for your products really quickly. And you can, take advantage of Stripe's, security, their use of tokens, things like that. So hope this was helpful. I'm going to go ahead and bring this thing to a close, but hope it was helpful, that you learned a few things. And yeah. All right, that's it. That's all I got for you this week, guys. Thanks for chiming in and discussing this stuff with me. Don't forget to subscribe to our blog newsletter, our YouTube channel, and like us on Facebook. That way you don't miss out on any of these future use case live streams that will be coming your way. And don't forget to check out our next live stream, which will be this Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, the the weekly WP Roundup. And we'll be back here next Tuesday with another Divi use case live stream. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Look forward to seeing you again soon.